Okay, 3.8.4, they're asking us to manipulate a date. By the looks of it, let's read the question. A date of birth is stored in a string called sdate in the format DDMMYYY. So, for example, 31st of the 12th, 2004. So that's the format that it'll be stored in. So day, month, and year in the full format. And of the year. So they want us to write code to store this date in a new string variable called snew in this format. Okay, so YY, so in other words, they wanted 2004, they just want it to be 04. Okay, that's fine. And then instead of a dash, they want a little forward slash. Then they want the month, and then they want the day. Okay, so the two changes basically are that they don't want the full year, in other words, not YYYY, but just YY. YYY Delilah, it's the song before your time. And right, so we've got that and that. Okay, so right, I've just put this into a little and I would strongly suggest you do this either mentally or literally. It's just to say, right, well, you're going to have to manipulate this thing. This is how this thing is currently stored. Okay, because it's so easy just to get to be one position out, and you'll find time and time again you run into this absolute confidence, and then suddenly, okay, that isn't working. Why isn't it working? I wrote it correctly. Why has the computer got it wrong? Okay, you didn't write it correctly because you often one out. So it's just easier to identify exactly where you need to copy from, etc., etc. So there are three basic things that I need to copy here. I need to copy the 9th and 10th character. Okay, I need to copy the 9th and the 10th character. Okay, so I could have copied, and okay, I'm looking at my solution. I think I made it a little bit more complicated than I could, because this will be a standard format. Okay, this will be a standard format. In other words, there will always be 2 digits. There'll be this, there'll be this, there'll be this. Okay, so it'll always consist of 10 digits to start off with in that string. Okay, so, but I can extract the last 2. That's not too difficult. Besides the fact that I know that they're in position 9 and 10, I know exactly where these 2 are. They're in position 4 and 5, and these 2 are in position 1 and 2. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is go and get the 04 out, and then add on, then don't forget to add on, instead of a dash, I'll just add on a slash. So I'm going to do something like that. Okay, as I was saying, it looks like I made my life a little bit complicated here, but let's see that it actually works. I said position 9 and 10. Okay, and I did that on the assumption, and my code I wrote on the assumption that the length would change, but the length will, oh my goodness, the length will always be the same. But anyway, let's see if it actually worked anyway. So the length of the date there would be 10, so that's saying 10 minus 2, that's 8. Lo and behold, it actually doesn't work. Okay, so there's an example where you can see where it actually doesn't work. Okay, because I actually should be copying from the 9th position. Okay, the 9th position I should be copying from. Okay, but I should rather make my life a lot easier and say, well, that'd be a lot easier if we said, right, copy from the 9th position. How many characters do you want to copy? You want to copy 2 characters. So that was right. Okay, so let's just make your life a lot easier. But you can just see how easy it is to be one off in this type of example. Plus, so that would have copied the 04 out, the green part, plus the slash sign, okay, forward slash sign, forward slapping sign there, plus I want to copy the 1 and the 2 out there. So that's at position 4, please, not 4, 5. That would copy 5 digits, 5 characters from position 4. It's 4 characters, copy from the date, okay, copy from date, I think this should be sdate actually as well. Okay, see how easy it is to make mistakes, given you copying and pasting. And teacher hangs head in shame, exits room. Okay, comes back. Okay, 4 copy, so that's 2 characters it must copy, and plus the slash sign, plus it must copy from position 1 and 2 to get the 31. Okay, so that's quite a nice question, just in terms of just working out where you must copy from and that. And it was quite nice because it was static in that you didn't have to worry about the length like I silly did, because it would always be the same length because the dates are stored in a very specific format. Okay, so that's 3.8.4. And lo and behold, that's actually the end of this worksheet. So we've looked at three types of questions. We've looked at the multiple choice, and we've looked at them in a couple of ways. First of all, just with some standard multiple choice techniques that you can use to eliminate, in other words, doing things like eliminating the obvious ones that can't possibly work. If you're very confident about that, obviously. The other thing is looking at specific examples. Okay, to say, right, well, okay, that's my thinking, but okay, let me think of a mixed example, one where there's characters that are digits and capital letters and lowercase and special characters. Does my argument still hold valid for choosing option C? Okay. Well, these two look very similar. There must be something different between them. Okay, what's different between them, and which one is the incorrect? In question 2 was the simplification ones that we looked at. You know, we've got a copy from the length of this, starting at this position, at that position, and whatever it happens to be. And they can look quite frightening. Okay, the idea is that you simplify, simplify, simplify. Okay, so you don't try and do everything in one go. Don't be a Delphi cowboy here. It's not time to be that. It's so you just reduce it, so because they all end up being numbers in the end, or letters or something like that, and it becomes a lot easier. Giving it to you in this format, I think, will be a lot easier. Okay, so even if they didn't, you could just quickly write that down, as I did for this one with the date format. I'll just put that when I got the original question, I just added that in just to help myself, and I already picked up 1 or 2 errors from that when I looked at this particular example. In question 3, there were 2 types of questions. The one was looking at some code and saying, why doesn't this work, or what does this part do, etc. And then the third part, the second part of question 3, was writing small snippets of code, which would be more appropriate with this type of mixture combo type of thing, where we're looking at theory and practical in the same test. In the practical, obviously, we would ask you to write longer sections of code. Okay. Right, let's hope that helps. So that's practice test 1, practice test 2, and practice, practice, practice. We say time and time again, it's like looking at maths examples. You can look at 1,000 maths examples, and after a while actually feel pretty confident, and still the maths terror can strike you. Okay, it's not about looking at the examples, it's about doing the examples. Sure, if you look at it and you absolutely know that you can write it out in your sleep, but make sure that you can write it out in your sleep. So, okay, which is quite tricky to do if you come to think about it. But in all seriousness, just make sure that you can actually do it, because to reproduce something, and it's not, and I'm not suggesting parrot learning, please. We're not saying that. It must be based on understanding. Otherwise, if the example just changes slightly, then you can't answer the question. But it is important that you say, okay, wait a bit, okay, now I'm not too sure about the last part. Then you say, okay, but then I need to go back and I need to look at the video, need to look at the example again, check that I got it. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, and question of understanding. And then of course you always ask questions. Okay, if there's something in the video or something in the explanations that don't, then you always ask your friendly neighborhood IT teacher. We generally a fairly friendly bunch. We don't always look like that, but we are a pretty nice bunch, actually. Okay, and that's it.